Hello, everyone. Thank you for your time. It won't be long, and we will be joining together to experience a holiday river cruise on the Mississippi River. Today, we are going to be answering some questions that several of you have been asking and also go over some additional details that will be designed to make the trip much easier and more enjoyable. A couple of things and observations I would like to make before we get into the real crux of the meeting is that it's wonderful that people really again are traveling. Uh, we've had several large groups go out very successfully, no adverse effects. We have a number of individual travelers traveling both within the United States and in foreign countries. And so travel is returning, and we have a wonderful group that's going to be together experiencing this Mississippi River holiday cruise. Uh, One of the things, obviously, is we're coming out of post COVID. Every time and every day we look at the situation, it's becoming a bit easier than it was before. The end result is that a number of changes take place regularly, sometimes even after we have departed for our experience. So we have adapted a rule of three that we really think it's good for each and every one of us to follow as we actually, in fact, do enjoy this Mississippi River holiday cruise. And those 3 points are: we really need to be flexible. Number two, we need to be adaptable. And number three, we need to be patient. And certainly, my wife Marilyn and I are looking forward to being along as your personal hosts on this tour and this cruise. And we will always keep you advised, but be aware that changes may occur, not for the negative or for the bad part of it, but simply maybe a different part of time or something that just makes things a little bit easier. We'll always be in communication with you. So remember, flexible, adaptable, and patient. So, with that, let's get into the crux of the meeting. Let me turn it over to our president, Paula Oxman. Paula.
Thank you, Larry. Let's take a look at some of the things that people are asking and important information that I think will make everyone feel really comfortable traveling, because there are so many protocols in place and things that are going to make you feel safer, make it easier. And the unknown is always a little scary. So this hopefully will put everyone at ease. Once you've watched and listened, if you have any questions, please always do give us a call. So just what are the COVID procedures and the protocols that are in place? Well, currently, and as Larry mentioned, things are changing and for the better in the instances that we've seen. But currently, in order to board the boat, everyone has to be fully vaccinated. And we have advised you of that in memos over the last several months, so that shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. Fully vaccinated means that you received your last dose at least 14 days prior to going on the trip. So that's very important. You're obviously going to have to prove that when you get to Memphis and at the pre-hotel, and perhaps again as you board the boat, you're going to have to show your vaccination documentation. And you do need to be sure that you have the original card that you were given at the time you received your vaccination or vaccinations, depending upon the type that you received. So be sure you have that handy and carry that on your person throughout your trip in case it's asked for. The next thing that is going to happen is documents are going to come to us. They're sending them out a little bit closer. They, being all the cruise lines, tour companies, are not sending those out as far in advance as normal because of the changes that are occurring. So we're expecting documents to be here probably in about 10 days from now. So we're ready. The minute we get them, we will get those out to everyone so that you do have those. One thing that we've noticed in some of the other travelers that we've had since COVID is that the documents, a question is always, well, the documents are saying that it's recommended we get tested before leaving home. Well, the key word there is recommended. It is not required at this time that you be tested prior to leaving home. You will be required to be tested at the Memphis Sheraton the day prior to boarding the ship. So when you arrive, those plans will be in place and you'll just follow the procedures that are set there to be tested. And that one is required. The cruise line provides that, and they also are paying the cost of that test. You're going to be sent the results of the test, whether it's negative or positive. You will be getting that via email. That's one of the reasons that everyone had to provide an email address, and we contacted some of you to get that we were missing or you were not opening. So it is very important that you have your smartphones with you and have access to that email. Now, there are workarounds. So in the event that I know there are some who do not have phones to get emails, you might just send us an email if you would, so we kind of have an idea of who and how many that will involve, so that we can work with the cruise line to have a plan B. So that is very important. You're going to get a health questionnaire from American Queen anywhere from 5 to 7 days prior to departure. That's again going to come to the email address that we have been using and that has been provided to the cruise line. You have 48 hours from time that you get that email to complete the health questionnaire and return it to American Queen. And that's very, very important. So you do need to watch for those starting about 7 days and then be on top of that, because the information they're going to ask for is very important. For safety and cleanliness, the cruise line is doing a lot of extra things at this point. All of the luggage is going to be disinfected before it's brought on board the boat, and again before it's removed from the vessel. When you arrive at the gangway, they're going to take your temperature as you board the boat to make sure that no one does have a fever. When the gangway is in use, which is going to be throughout the times that you're in all the ports, they will be sanitizing that every half hour. All of the cabins are going to be thoroughly cleaned and disinfected with hospital-grade approved disinfectant. Corridors will be cleaned and disinfected with the electrostatic fogging twice a day. And there will be disinfecting wipes that are available for you to carry and placed at different places throughout the boat that passengers will have access to them. Staterooms are also cleaned and disinfected, electrostatic fogging twice a day, as are all of the public areas are also clean, so that they're keeping everything as clean as possible. There is a UVC light that is added to all the main areas and will have fresh air ventilation systems so that the air is constantly being disinfected and circulated around. Masks and face coverings is a good example of some news that is positive as far as your trip. Masks will be required during the embarkation process and while riding on the shore excursion motor coaches. Masks will be provided, one per guest in each guest room, and additional masks will be available upon request, so if you misplace that. Now, do keep in mind that on the flights, you will be required to have a mask on from the time that you enter the airport until such time that you leave the airport when you reach your destination. So you're going to have to bring one with you from home, because you obviously are not going to get the one from American Queen until you get into your cabin. Masks are not required on board unless mandated by governments and municipalities that you would be visiting. But currently, right now, you probably will not have to wear your mask on the shore excursion buses once you're off and on the boat. So that's a positive advance in that area. Crew members are also undergoing temperature checks regularly, and proper hand washing techniques, and doing basically all of the same techniques and things that everyone else is doing. Hand washing stations are available outside the dining room, and the areas, again, tables, counters, all of the glassware, dishes, and everything are being very carefully sanitized throughout. Menus are going to be a one-time, one-use thing, and then discarded after each use, so that that takes away one other source of perhaps picking up something. The shore excursions, the bus seats, windows, handrails, and everything are sanitized with EPA-approved solutions. The stepwell handrails, seat rails, the restrooms, and there is liquid sanitizer dispensers that are available on the motor coaches as you get on or off. There is still licensed medical personnel on board for emergencies, COVID, as well as other things that may come up. So that's always a good thing. We all need to share in the responsibility of staying safe by washing our hands often with soap and water, using the alcohol-based sanitizers when you're not able to have warm water and soap. Obviously, cover your nose and mouth if you cough or sneeze. Don't touch your eyes, your nose, your mouth, and avoid personal contact with others, such as handshaking or sharing of glasses, plates, utensils, and things of that nature. So pretty much what's going to happen when you arrive in Memphis is you will be picked up by a charter motor coach, and you will be taken to the Memphis Sheraton, and then you will begin your process of testing and things of that nature. So just remember to be sure and watch for the emails that are providing you the information that's required. So how does the included sightseeing work? Well, there's two different kinds of sightseeing that's included. So first, let's talk about what exactly is the hop-on, hop-off sightseeing that's included. There is a American Queen, what they call a steam coach, and they are painted to look just like the boat itself, so they're very easily identified. And there's various stops around each of the stops that you make and get off the boat that will have a sign, kind of an A-frame that stands and says Motor Coach Stop, has a picture of the American Queen vessel, and there's a map that you can get as you get onto the bus that will have it laid out so that you know where these stops are. What I like to do is to get on the bus, and it stops at the first stop, and if there's 30 people on the motor coach and 20 of them hop off, I don't get off at that one. I go to the next one and get off where there's not a huge crowd. That's one of the advantages of the sightseeing on the riverboats, is you can avoid crowds, and then you take whatever time you want at that location. If it's close and you want to walk to the next stop, that's fine. If you want to get back onto the steam coach and then get off at the next stop, that's fine. And again, if it's very crowded, you don't have to get off, or if it's something that is not of interest to you, then again, you don't have to get off. It's nice because if you go to a museum or any of the various kinds of stops they make. It may be a church or museum, various things that it's included. You don't have to pay to go into that particular stop. So you get on, get off, spend the amount of time you want, and then back on the bus. If a stop is very busy, I ride on and then I just go back around to go to stop number one or wherever I didn't get off at the beginning. So it works quite well. We also have included feature tours that have been provided as part of your package. You're going to be doing a private tour, the Ultimate Cajun Experience. And once on board, it's my understanding that your ticket for that will be in your staterooms, and Larry and Marilyn will provide more information on that at the time as to meeting time and that kind of thing. So again, that is an included feature that has been taken care of for you. When you get your cruise documents, another thing that you're going to notice is it will indicate travel insurance, and your documents are going to say no. And the reason for that is that you do not have American Queen travel insurance. We have provided the group policy through Travel Insured that is pretty standard as a feature on all of our personally hosted feature tours. So in your documents, you're going to get the policy that you want to be sure and take with you on the trip in case. Hopefully no one needs it while you're gone, but you do want to take that with you. Also in your documents, we're going to be sending out the Please Go Away Vacations bright green stickers. Those are important because the bright green is very easily identifying the suitcases of our group. The backs will peel off, and sometimes they're a little tricky, but there is a little corner. If you kind of roll it around a little bit on your finger, you'll see where the little edge is so that you can peel the back paper off, and then it sticks it to itself. And we'll have a slide in a few down the line that will have an example of that for those of you that are new to traveling with the groups. So that has its own special purpose so that when a luggage handler, when available, is getting those, they are identified easily. You're also going to get in your documents a cruise line luggage tag. That is, and you will get one per person because that is for the one large suitcase that each person is allowed. And you don't want to put that luggage tag onto your luggage when you leave home because it more than likely won't withstand the airline's handling. You're going to want to put that on when you are at the Sheraton in Memphis. And so that is what is going to get that bag to your cabin once you go and embark onto the boat. Another thing that people often ask about is the dining. And we had requested early seating for everyone, and I believe that is still at 5:30. That's kind of changed on some sailings, so we will let you know for sure. Some of the people who reserved later have not cleared yet for that dining, but we will continue to work on that, clear up until the time that you actually do get on board the boat. Dining is normally open. I do believe that the last people we had on indicated that they had added, for a while there were only like 4 per table, but I think that the last people that have been on the boats have indicated that they have added a few more to some of the tables so that they're not keeping them quite as far away from each other as what they were for a while. So your document booklet is going to look something like this. It's going to have a lot of information in it. That is very important that you read from cover to cover, all of the inserts and everything, and then do let us know if anything is confusing or you have any questions. There's going to be an essential travel guide that's going to give you a lot of general basic information, Wi-Fi, meal times, um, entertainment, just all kinds of information that's very good. The middle is the front side of the cruise line tag, and the cruise line is going to use this with the number because it says what deck you're on, and that is going to help them expedite your cabin to the proper cabin, your luggage to the proper cabin, sorry. And then stateroom number, we will write that on to everyone's prior to mailing it to you, as well as the booking number and all of the other information. Um, we will not add the name and address strictly because of some people prefer not to put their home address onto a luggage tag that's going to be sitting on a dock and advertising that their home is empty for a time or something of that nature. So we normally do not put addresses on, but you can certainly handle that however you want to do. So that's entirely your decision. As I mentioned, the bright green stickers that you're going to get in your information for your handles, and it is important that you peel the backs and then wrap them around the handle of your luggage. And this one happens to be on a carry-on, and you're going to get sufficient ones that, in addition to putting it on your big bag, a lot of people put it on their carry-on bags, camera bags, backpacks. Ladies sometimes even put them on a purse handle. If you happen to be in a restaurant or on a bus or in a lobby somewhere and you get up and walk off and leave it, somebody in our group is going to recognize the bright green sticker and bring it to everyone's attention that something is about to be left from the owner. Again, other than your large bag, it's strictly your choice on the others. It's important that you fly and have bags that are the proper size. You are going to pay American Airlines $30 in each direction for your first piece of luggage, as long as it does not exceed 50 pounds or measure the height, the length, and the width one time each, as shown here, cannot exceed 62 inches. So if your dimensions are more than 62 inches or it weighs over 50 pounds, there are oversized fees that the airline will charge you. I have been with some ladies once that had, I think, 3 pounds over, and they had to end up paying almost $100 to get their bag home. Larry and Marilyn will have scales, so if you do some Christmas shopping or pick up some souvenirs along the way and you're concerned that your bag is overweight, they'll be able to assist you with using the scale. The big bag here is one that is 62 inches. That's about the total, so that you don't want anything that's bigger than that one. The middle one can be a carry-on bag. It should fit easily into the overhead compartment of the airline. And then the little one is a nice size carry-on as well that should go in the overhead easily or even under the seat in front of you on the flights. Again, notice the green stickers and how those are on the location of the handle that is proper to wrap those around. Wheels are very helpful when you're changing planes and going through airports. It doesn't take much to have a carry-on that's a little heavy if you have to go very far or stand very long to be checked in somewhere. So wheels like this are good. We have found in our travels recently that due to COVID, some of the airports no longer have sky caps to assist with bags. So having wheels makes it really a lot easier than if you are forced to handle your own bag at some of the locations. And that's something that we don't really know about until you get there. So you do have to adapt and be flexible on how that's going to work out. You are going to be out doing either hop on, hop off, or doing your premium feature tour that's included on most of the days that you're cruising. And you're going to want your camera, and you may want a jacket, raincoat, umbrella, things of that nature, because we're never quite sure exactly what's going to happen with weather. And this is a nice size bag. It's a backpack. You could put your important papers, your credit cards, some money into the little zipper bag and tuck it down into the backpack or something similar to have the things that you need throughout the day when you're off of the boat. This will easily fit under your seat or in the overhead of a bus so that you're not having to sit and hold something larger on your lap. And then if you don't have valuables in there and you want to leave it, if you're comfortable doing that when you, not on the hop on, but if you are on a bus just for your group, like when you go to dinner or something like that, that you have it that, but you probably, when you get off of a hop on, hop off bus, you will not be reboarding the same bus. So I want to be clear, you would not leave these personal items on that bus. When you fly, there seems like security is always kind of a question that people have. We have received a few TSA pre-check numbers from people. If you have one or a Mileage Plus number that you have not provided to us, please do that very soon so that we can get those added to the record. It's important as well to remember the 311 rule. Each person is allowed to take a 1-quart bag of 3-ounce containers of liquids and gels. You can take larger sizes of liquids and gels, shampoo, deodorant, toothpaste, all those things, but it must be in your check luggage so that you don't have access to it throughout the flight. So one person, 1 quart of 3-ounce containers. And that's very important. If you have something bigger, the airline will take that away from you. So at random, some different things. You may want to take credit cards to do shopping or pay for your check luggage fees, things of that nature. That's perfectly fine if you're going to be using it because you're going to be in several different cities throughout the trip. You might want to go ahead and contact your credit card and tell them that your itinerary and give them an okay so that they don't question your charges. Some don't want that and some do for domestic travel. So you know your credit card. If in doubt, I would notify them so that you don't get a surprise. Passports or driver's license, and we have sent out in memos and have made several changes because of people that had changed their form of identification. It's very important that you use the form of identification that you have turned into us and we have turned into American Queen. For the airline, it's only important that the names match. But because American Queen has to provide the information and what type of identification you're using to the Department of Homeland Security and the Coast Guard, you must use that form of identification. So if in doubt, do give us a call and we will reconfirm with you. And I believe that that is scheduled to be put into the 7-day memo to once again confirm to everybody what you have indicated. On board the boat and at the hotel as well, obviously, no converters or adapters, no foreign money. All of that is going to be um, what we're used to here in North America. So that's always makes it easy, and you don't have to worry about those things. Um, gratuities, other than if you purchase meals on your own off the boat, um, that you would want to do a gratuity on with as you would anywhere, you really won't have gratuities. There are onboard gratuities, and those have been taken care of for you as part of your feature for your all inclusive tour. So that's been handled. You don't need to worry about that. And I might just explain a little bit how a couple of these features, the gratuities as well as your Cajun experience, is going to work. In order to provide that for each individual cabin, it was necessary that we put onboard credits onto your account. So you have received the equivalent of what the recommended gratuities are. That has been put on your onboard account, and also the Ultimate Cajun Experience. Sufficient gratuities have, not gratuities, sufficient onboard credits have been added to also take that. So it may be a little confusing because you're going to see onboard credits and then you're going to see the charges that come off, but that's how American Queen requires that that be handled. So again, once you get there, if it's confusing or you don't think it's right, visit with Larry and he can help you sort that out. Temperatures on your trip are going to vary, I would say probably quite a bit from the time you are in Memphis until you get farther to the south. I did this same itinerary a few years ago, about almost exactly the same time of year. And that year, the temperatures were wonderful throughout the entire trip. Um, but you can't count on that. So you are going to want to take some layers. So perhaps it's cool in the morning, and as the day warms up, you can remove, or it gets cloudy and you need to put on, another layer. But I certainly would be prepared for some rain or some cooler weather. In particular, it can get quite cool when you do your Cajun experience because you are on an open boat out in the water in the swamp. I believe it does have a cover, but the sides are open, so you're going to feel air movement and things like that as you're moving along. So I would certainly be prepared with a nice warm jacket, perhaps even with a sweatshirt underneath because it can be quite cool. Clothing on board the river boats is also another positive because unlike the big ocean cruises, you don't have to have formal nights. Whatever you wear is fine. Personally, I don't usually wear blue jeans. I would wear slacks and a nice top. Um, Gentlemen may want to have a sport coat, not because you need to have a sport coat, but just because it might be cool in the dining room and it would be comfortable as opposed to being a little cool in there. I would certainly take a sweater or two so that I could slip that on or put it around my shoulders. Public areas are sometimes kept a little cooler than what I'm comfortable. Blue jeans and just very, very casual clothing is certainly fine for all of the sightseeing that you'll be doing off the boat. So Larry, I think that is everything I have, and I may have given you questions that you're wondering about. So if there's anything that you have questions or I've not covered or maybe have confused people more, ask me now.
Don't really need to do that, Paula. You've done your normal good job. Let me just say again for our listeners that Marilyn and I are looking forward to sharing this experience with you. It's truly a great way to begin the holiday season, and I will repeat many times during the course of our being together that great people make great trips, and obviously this is going to be a great trip. So, Paula, that's all I have to say. You can just wrap
Okay.
up.
All right. Thank you. And I mentioned gratuities, and then I will also say that gratuities are not expected or accepted by your Please Go Away Vacations tour host and hostess. So that is good compared to many other companies who are standing with their hands out. So again, thank you. If you have any questions, you can always call us at 1-800-362-9347, or you can email us at answers@travelpleasegoaway.com. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing your pictures and hearing all about the trip when you return.